Daily Roundup number 11. It is another day off here on the Isle of Man, and we're down in pit lane where it's absolutely crammed full of bikes. Here's Boothy to say something.
I thought it was going to be really quiet up here today, but it's packed, isn't it?
Yeah, I was the same. I thought everyone had kind of dispersed throughout the island, but no, everyone's down here. If you just turn your cameras to your left here, we can see Pete Hickman. He's in his levers for some reason. I don't know if he thinks it's race day or not, but...
Oh, he's obviously got the message, off he's gone.
Off he's gone. So Boothy, while it's a day off, let's talk highlights so far.
It's difficult to disregard the brilliance, the near dominance of Michael Dunlop and the Birchall boys, isn't it? You know, we've seen 130 mile an hour laps on super sport bikes. We've seen multiple 135 mile an hour laps on the big bikes, and that big 120 on the sidecars. That's some achievement, wasn't it? And not only did the Birchall brothers do it, Alan Fownes and Jevon Walmsley managed it as well.
No.
Pete Fownes and Jevon Walmsley.
You know, by the end of this 2 weeks, we're going to absolutely nail it.
Yeah.
Pete Fownes ended up doing it. But didn't Alan Fownes end up getting married?
He got engaged to his now fiance, so congratulations to them.
All right, beyond those, what has been Boothy's highlight?
I've been really impressed by Jamie Coward this year. Mm-hmm. Jamie Coward is a guy he's not riding for one of the big teams. You go and have a look at their setup, and it's great setup, really professional, but it's a family-run thing that he's riding a super stock bike in the super bike races, and he's flying. He's had a podium on the Super Twins, and he's been not far off the podium on the big bike and the super sport bike. So that boy's flying, and you know, you got to think to yourself, you know, if he was riding a factory bike, if he was riding for a team with a proper budget, he'd definitely be a podium contender.
100%, absolutely. But if he goes to a factory team, where does he go? And do KTS have the money to be able to give him a superbike, a factory superbike?
Yeah, I don't know, but you know, what's John going to do? John McGuinness is not getting any younger. Is he going to continue racing? Maybe there'll be a slot opening in the Honda team. I think Jamie would go well on a Fireblade, but then, you know, we talked about this the other day. There's a lot of other riders that, you know, the Padgett's guys. Connor doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon. Davey Todd doesn't like he's going anywhere soon. Pete's pretty settled in the FHO team with Brooksy.
Yep.
You know, there aren't many opportunities opening themselves up.
It's a bit like MotoGP nowadays, isn't it?
It is like MotoGP.
Yeah. All right then. Beyond that though, what's Boothy's highlight of the Isle of Man away from the racing?
The weather. It's got to be the weather, hasn't it?
The weather.
I can't remember a TT we've had such beautiful weather. What about you then, Pritch? What's your highlight of TT 2023 so far?
Well, I would have said Jamie Coward, but let's go Ryan Kringle.
Yeah.
Ryan Kringle has come in as a newcomer, and he's just chipped away. And we had an interview with him, and he's not had the best time of getting here. Ran out of money, ran out of bikes, but somehow they've cobbled together this bike that he's been able to go out and compete on. So him making it to the end will be the highlight. But so far, Ryan Kringle has been doing stuff.
He's definitely someone for the Manx men and women to be proud of.
Exactly, yeah. Wheelies. And beyond that, I don't know what else has been happening really. Mike Brown, obviously, we need to mention him. He's had a solid podium in that Super Twin race. After
quite a lot of bad luck on the Super Bike and the Super Sport Bike.
Yeah.
Who else is going to get on the podium in the Super Stock, the Super Twin and the Senior race that we've got left?
No one. I think we're going to see exactly the same for the Super Twin. We're going to see the same for the Super Stock. And we're going to see the same potentially in the Senior. The Senior is the only race, I think, where we could see a change in what we've already seen. Pete might push Michael, Pete might get that victory, but beyond actually anybody else taking it, unless those boys have mechanicals or issues on the bike. But that doesn't mean the racing is going to be boring.
No.
It's just that everyone's, that's where the level is, and that's that. I think we'll see Jamie Coward potentially get a second in that Super Twin, but if Michael has any sort of mechanical, he could take his first TT victory, I think.
You heard it here first.
Do you want to check out some bangers?
I'm sat with Davey Todd, Milenko by Paget's TT racer. We're about 3/4 of the way through the TT now, Davey. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Honestly, I'm almost a bit sad already because you sort of the end's in sight really. We've got a couple of races left and I don't want it to end yet. I'm just sort of getting rolling and the speed's building up all the time, but I wish I had another 6 races to go really.
We've seen the same 3 guys on the podium for all the races you've been in. They've pulled something extra special out of the bag this year. The pace is off the charts. How does that make you feel when you know you're as riding pretty much as fast as anyone's ever ridden on the TT course, and they've stepped it up a notch? How does that make you feel?
Honestly, it's pretty mental to be fair, and I'm still learning every lap. But it's crazy when you come in at that Supersport race yesterday, and I think the lap time I did on the last lap was 3-4 seconds shy of the original lap record. And you think, oh, I must be in a decent position, but you're not even on the podium at that because the front 3 guys have all broke the lap record, and not only done that, the front 2 did 130s on 600s. You're like, it's mad really, isn't it? Like the pace, what it's come to in every race, the Superstock race, the Superbike race as well, the pace is really hot. So yeah, we're definitely gonna have to find something to be in the mix for those boys.
What do you put that down to? Why do you think all of a sudden the pace has just jumped so much this year?
To be honest, a big part of it has been the weather. We have had 2 glorious weeks of sunshine. The track is really rubbing in, the grip's there now. But in the same breath, it's been building the last few years. It's been really moving forward in terms of every rider in their preparation for the TT, because you look at the top 20 guys, I would say nigh on every single one of them is racing BSB now week in, week out in one class or another. Everybody's doing everything that they can do to be competitive, and that's just really lifting the pace of everyone. I know we're talking the pace of the front few guys, but was it the Superbike race? I think 12 people did 130-mile-an-hour laps. Like 130, I thought it's a really big special thing to do a 130-mile-an-hour lap, and it's not easy. But 12 guys are doing it all in one race. It's like, that says it all, doesn't it?
What else do you think you can do to obviously you talked about all the preparation racing in BSB. What else do you need to do in the off season to prep to be a fast TT racer?
Honestly, it's a bit of everything. Rehearsing the course is obviously such a massive part. You know yourself, like it's not easy memorising every single bump and every hedge, curb around the place. So it's always remembering that and like really rehearsing it, so when you come back it's all fresh in your mind and you're fully dialed in. I always think it's useful using stuff like the PlayStation game to do laps, because I can do laps quicker than I can in real life on the game, so then it almost speeds your brain up. Your brain's working faster than it needs to when you're out there riding the bike, so that's also a bit of a good thing. But honestly, these days, like, all the bikes are good as well. It's just you need that extra tiny little bit, and it's everything been perfect. You've been 110% fit, you know, the bike been absolutely perfectly set up, and everything needs to be everything needs to be perfect, doesn't it?
You've had some very respectable finishes so far this year, but we saw you DNF the Superbike race. Can you tell us what happened there?
Yeah, it's been a plague of a problem, to be honest, since we came to the TT. Right at the start of practice week, we've been struggling with this brake issue, and we've tried different brake systems and everything, and I think after it all, we've sort of realised that it's not even a brake issue anymore. It's actually a bike stability issue, that it's that nervous and shaking its head so much it just throws the pads back everywhere. I think it's probably not helped by my lack of experience, in that I don't really know what an unstable bike is. Sure, it feels unstable, but also it's a TT course. It's bumpy. I thought it's just meant to be like that. So I'm trying to ride through it, and maybe we should have been figuring out how to make it a little smoother, or what. I'm not entirely sure. So I ended up trying to figure something out in the race, and the first lap the brakes I was having to pump up, and then the second lap it was worse. The third lap I actually lost my brakes a few times and took a while for them to come back, so thought it was too big a risk really to carry on.
Yeah, too right. It's dangerous enough racing around here at flat out speeds, isn't it? When you haven't got any brakes, it's pretty scary. Is that a problem you're having in Superbike specifically, or is it a Superstock problem as well? Or
some weird, the handling of the bike is the same, but for some reason the Superstock brakes aren't knocking back the same. The Superstock and the Supersport, it's just not doing the same thing, and I don't know if it's a characteristic more so of that brake system that they're harder to knock the pads back or what have you, but it's just not doing it. And then it's just the Superbikes that they have so much better brakes with a much lighter feel. That I guess they're probably easier to knock back. And I wish it was as easy as putting the stock brakes on the Superbike, but they don't fit on them forks, so then you got to change your forks and you got to change your yokes. Basically you then have to change your full front end, which then makes it a Superstock bike, not a Superbike anymore. So that's possibly what we're looking at the moment for the senior. We have one other option, but it's also a big risk, so we're just still weighing up at the moment what to do, whether to do the Superstock bike thing or take the risk and try this idea we have with the brakes.
Okay, it sounds like that's a bit secret, so I'm not going to ask you about that. Is there a possibility of we've heard of other people just riding the Superstock bikes in the senior race and the Superbike race? Is that an option?
Yeah, for sure. The Superstock bike in the senior, for sure, is an option. I feel comfortable on the stocker. Obviously, could do with a bit more power, so we even have the option of putting the Superbike engine even in the stocker, so that could be an option. But we're obviously running out of time. We've got a warm-up lap, 2 warm-up laps, and 2 races to go. And I didn't really want to do the warm-up lap on the day of the senior. I think we're seeing as the week goes on, it gets less and less people doing the warm-up laps. Everybody's had so many laps these 2 weeks, and we're all feeling the effects of that now. So I think everybody's backing it off and trying to save their energy for when it matters now.
Yeah, if you've got to do a 6-lap senior race, probably the last thing you want to do is an extra lap in the morning.
Exactly.
We saw you, especially in practice week, doing a lot of wheelies and backing it into a lot of the corners. It looks like you're on a blast on the bike. We've heard you talk about, the fact that when you're a happy rider, as a fast rider, at what point does that change? If you saw P1 on your pit board, are you all of a sudden gonna put that little bit more effort in and forget about enjoying it? Just focus fully on going as fast as you possibly can.
I don't know. It's a really tough balance for me because I know that, like you've already said, a happy rider is a fast rider. But when I'm having fun, when I'm smiling in my helmet, I'm also going fast. If I overthink going fast too much, then you often can make yourself end up going slower. You're rushing stuff and taking exit speeds away and trying really hard but going slower. So I'm not sure where the balance is, but obviously not as many wheelies and stuff in the races, but I am still trying. But I just have a bit of a different style as well with my motocross background, supermoto background. I like backing it in and stuff like that, and always seem to do that a lot anyway. So it's making me smile, and I think it helps with the lap time and me being relaxed and stuff as well. But obviously I want to win the race more than anything, so it's just figuring that fine balance out really between the two.
Okay, so let me ask that question in a different way then. If you're in a senior race on Saturday and you see P1 on your pit board, what's going to go through your head?
But if I'm seeing P1 at the end of the first lap and I've been enjoying myself that first lap, I'm going to keep doing the same thing because it's obviously working.
Yeah.
Because all I've said ever since I first came to the TT, I've done that same thing. Have fun, and the lap time just seems to come, and I am doing that, and the time seem to still keep coming. So why change it if it's still working, if you're still getting faster and faster? No doubt, honestly, I am trying harder. I am pushing a little bit more in areas I feel comfortable to push in. But no, I wouldn't try to change anything. If I saw P1 or P6, you wouldn't really try anything different because you obviously whatever you're doing, trying to do the right thing. And I would love to see P1 on a pit board. I just can't stop thinking about that. You put the thought in my head now.
You spent a lot of time by yourself in the Malenko by Paget's garage this week, or when I say by yourself, without Connor Cummins, your teammate. What's that been like?
Yeah, honestly, I've missed him. It's a shame not having my teammate there, Anna, and Connor's a good mate as well. And I went and hung out the day before he actually come back before the Superstock race, and he said he was all good to go again, and glad he was feeling a little bit better. And I'm just gutted for him. From a mate's point of view, I'm absolutely gutted for Connor. Like, we all are desperate for these 2 weeks of TT to come around every single year, and we got to wait 12 months every time for it to come back around. And he's had it taken away from him a little bit, and honestly, yeah, just gutted for him. I went and hung out, and he seemed better, and then came back and did the Superstock race, and I think 3 days have been severely ill, has took the energy levels away, and it just ruined him. So, hey, hopefully he's back for these last 2 races. Maybe just a senior. I'm not really sure as of yet, but disappointed for him. But hopefully he'll be back.
Davey Todd, 2 more races left to go. Wish you the best of luck, and I hope you see P1 on your pit board at some point.
Hopefully.
Have a
Cheers,
good one,
dude.
mate.
Thank you.
Summer loving, had me a blast.
Hey Danny Zuko, you look great in that leather jacket, by the way.
Thank you, mate.
Really
Cheers.
nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah? I'd let you. Anyway, let's talk about tomorrow. Let's try and avoid the typical cliches of everything is awesome, everything is going to be fast, everything is going to be mental, but it is. No, don't talk about them. Don't mention the 3 names.
I wasn't going to mention the 3 names.
Let's go romantic.
I was going to say we've got
Let's dream.
a super stock race and then a super twin race.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. There's 3 names that we're not going to mention because we've talked about them all week that are probably going to be looking at a podium. But there's a lot of names that we only need one of them names to have a little hiccup, and you've got the Cowards, the Hilliers, the McGuinnesses, the
Davey Toads.
Davey Toads. Sorry, I called Davey Todd Davey Toad on the radio the other day, so sorry about that, Davey. Slip of the tongue.
But yeah, you're right. It's we want to dream a little bit, because not that there's anything wrong with having those 3, because right now they are the best 3 riders on the best 3 packages. But to have someone else on that podium would be exciting, because they all need one. Mm-hmm. Davey needs one. Jamie needs one. It'd be awesome to see John have one. Everyone needs a podium, but at the minute they're the 3 best riders on the 3 best packages, so you can't look beyond them.
The Super Twin race, I think, is going to be a little bit more exciting. Mm-hmm. Michael Dunlop, probably gonna.
We said we weren't going to mention him.
We said we weren't going to mention it. We can't not, because he's been dominant this day. And whilst we are mentioning him, tomorrow it looks like he might surpass his Uncle Joey for wins.
I don't really think anyone's ready for that. I don't really think anybody's actually stopped to think what that means in terms of history at the TT. That we all looked at that years ago and thought no one would ever touch that. Did we ever think anyone would get close to it?
No. Well,
and we thought
we thought John was probably the only person that was ever going to get anywhere near it, because the TT's so competitive now. No one can possibly just win in the same way that John did, that Joey did, but Michael is. And if he wins 2 races tomorrow, if he wins 1, he'll match Joey. Mm-hmm. If he wins 2, if he wins the Super Twin and the Super Stock race, he'll be and I'm not going to say the word winningest because it's not a real word, he'll be the person who's won the most races at the TT.
He'll be the GOAT.
The GOAT.
He will be the GOAT. He'll be the greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time at the Isle of Man TT races, and that's a bit of history, isn't it? Seeing someone become the greatest TT rider of all time. Will it happen tomorrow?
I'd like it to happen by the end of the week, because I don't want to wait another year for him to have to become the greatest of all time. A lot could happen between now and then.
Perhaps it would be nice if we signed off the TT 2023 senior race, Dunlop wins and becomes the greatest rider of all time.
GOAT. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Leave your comments down below. Let us know who you think is going to be winning that senior, because that's the big one. That's the one everyone's talking about. But obviously we've got 2 races before then. I think that's all we need to talk about.
Just in case anyone's wondering why we're so well dressed, we've just been to a big party at the Lieutenant Governor of the Isle of Man's house, Sir John Lorimer.
That was, yeah, amazing.
We get invited to stuff like that.
It's pretty special, right?
I actually thought, when I got an invite, I thought, oh, I like VIP, like this is going to be quite special. Got there, Pritch turned up, so...
It wasn't that special.
No.
But yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you check out all the news and features over at iomttraces.com, and all the socials are at TT Racers Official. Leave those comments, because we both like to read them. See you later, Booth.
Ciao.